what we have done last time is, right? We have talked about the terraform and how it is either an imperative or declarative, the difference where the terraform exists. And what we have done is we have opened a couple of, just like we have written some kind of a code where, right, a sample, a terraform script, right? This is what we have done, right, last time. I mean, first of all, you have to define two things. You have to save, you have to create a file with the .tf. Okay, for example, this is a main or anything is fine, some file name .tf, and this contains the two things. One is a provider, another one is a resource. Okay, these are the main two blocks or two things you have to define in your terraform file. And the first thing is the provider name. Okay, my provider is AWS. You have to define your provider details. Okay, in AWS, use something called, okay, region US East 1 and AWS access key. I mean, you can define all your provider details. A provider is nothing but the cloud environments. Okay, for each and every provider, you have to describe about it. For example, if you are using a provider called AWS, the thing is, you want to create an EC2 instance in AWS. This is the problem statement that you got by your manager or your team lead. Okay, now since you have to work on AWS, the provider will be AWS. Okay, if you want to work with VirtualBox with the Terraform, your provider could be VirtualBox. If you want to work with DigitalOcean Cloud or Linode or Azure or GCP, everything will have its own providers. Most of the, Terraform guys, whoever has been developed, they are supporting most of the resources, all the cloud vendors. Okay, so like this, once you have defined your Terraform script, what you would be doing is, okay, I'll tell you the problem statement here. Create EC2 in AWS. This is a simple one. Generally, let's think about, okay, let's think about what are the steps. First, you have to log into, I'm talking about the manual steps. Then we will try to convert in a source code, and then we'll compare what is this and everything. Log into AWS. 2 to 3 ways you can do. One is console login, meaning where you can type a console.aws.com. It will ask you username and password. Another one is API access and secret key, which is CLI based. Another one is the same with the API access keys and passwords. The one is API based. Okay, this is one thing. Next one is we'll log into the EC2 dashboard, and then we will select image, which is nothing but a AMI, and then we will be configured. And in the configuration, what we'll do is we'll select the volume, network, security group, user data. What else we do? We will create a PEM file also, right? Which is for the access keys, which is nothing but the either PEM or PPK file. These are the things that we will be providing while configuring or while creating an EC2 instance in AWS. We have done the same thing, if you remember. Okay, so now let's see how we would be defining the same thing with the Terraform script. First step is you create a Terraform file. You should be creating a .tf file. Once you have created a .tf file, you would be providing two things. One is provider. In the provider, you are going to tell what is your provider name, AWS, and access key, something like lot of stuff, and a secret key. You would be defining your access and secret key, a lot of stuff. And the next one is a resource. the resource that you are going to use is AWS EC2. Okay, and the name of that AWS EC2 resource in your Terraform script is, okay, my EC2. Now you have to define the configuration of what resource configuration is required, as you mentioned here, right? First, we will be, by default, you have to mention AMI equal to IAMID 31267 something. Each, you have to select the AMI. AMI is nothing but the Amazon machine image, which means we'll have Ubuntu, RHEL, Windows, right? Each one will have its own AMI, and you have to define that AMI. And the next one is you have to define the name equal to, for example, my EC2. It could be same or single, anything. And next one is security group. We can give, the security group ID. If they have anything like this, we have to mention each and everything about your configuration in this one. Okay, this is how you would be comparing it now. Okay, now the thing is, once you have done with your creation of your files, right, what you do is there is a life cycle of it. Okay, there is a life cycle for that. Those life cycle have a couple of things. One is init, next one is a plan, next one is apply, and after that there is a destroy. Okay, so meaning this is an option. In between there is something called approve or auto approve. What does it mean? I'll tell you. In the initial phase, the first phase, these are the 4 phases basically. 3 plus 1, 4, and it won't come as a phase, because it is asking a permission. Like it will tell. I'll tell you when we are discussing about this. Basically, in the Terraform, what you do is, in this phase, you will execute something called Terraform init. You will execute a command called terraform init. Now this is the actual commands. When you do init, what does it mean is it will initialize the terraform with the provider, meaning in this phase, whatever you have provided as a whatever you have defined as a provider, okay, it will download all the providers, which is nothing but a dependencies, okay, from your main.tf, or for example, this we think as a main.tf, right? This is nothing but a main.tf, main fast. Otherwise, some people will create another folder called terraform.tf itself. In the terraform.tf itself, they'll provide a different providers. Provider ID, I need to work with AWS, and this is the region, and this is the value of it, and at the same time I want to work with right, I want to work with for example, VirtualBox, and this is my provider, and this required the name of it, something like this. Okay, so like this, you would need to mention, you will mention all kind of a providers which required by your project. So what does it do is, in the terraform init, it will first go to and search in this particular directory. It will go and try to find the terraform.tf. If it present, it will download all these dependencies from the terraform.tf. Okay, and just 1 minute, guys. Okay. Okay, I'm back, guys. So what does it do is when you do terraform init, it will try to find the terraform.tf file and then download all the dependencies which you have mentioned in the terraform.tf file and then install all that stuff. This phase is called the initialization phase. Okay. Next one is plan. What does it do is this is next phase of it. Okay. What does it mean exactly is it will compare the terraform current state. Current state means in the main.tf, whatever you have mentioned the resources, it will compare and then meaning compare means since for example what you have written here is okay, I want to create an EC2 in AWS provider with this name with this configuration. When you do terraform plan internally, it will connect to AWS and then check are there any my EC2 instance is running or not, not even running, whether it is a present or not. It will come back and then tell you the status about it, which is nothing like a validating things. In this plan stage itself, what does it do is it will compile, connect, and then get back with the status. Okay, there is nothing. I'm going to create. This is way how I'm going to create. If it's already been presented with the same name resource or with the same resource name, it will tell you, okay, I'm not able to going to create because that is already been existed. This is what it is going to give you. Meaning in the terraform plan state, what does it do is it will go and validate the current status of a AWS and compare with your code, whatever you have given. Okay, so and then tell you okay, I'm gonna give you the plan is nothing but a blueprint of it. It will give you the list of resources. Okay, for this AWS resource, AWS EC2 resource, I'm gonna show you, I mean I'm gonna create all this, are you okay with or not? Okay, that is nothing but apply. No, not apply, I'll tell you. I mean it will give you the plan. It will ask you, I mean you can if you find anything different, you can what you can do is you can cancel it basically. Meaning okay, I'm gonna create EC2 but it is trying to create a S3 also, you can check like and then cancel it. Of course it won't do that. I'm just to tell you, I mean to make you understand, I'm telling this scenario. Okay, we'll do everything is in practical. Okay, but before doing that, I want to make you understand what these are all. Once you have plan, meaning once you are okay with that plan, meaning it will tell you the list of files. Okay, I'm going to create all these resources, are you okay? That's it. And next, once you are okay, what you need to do is terraform apply. Okay, I'm done with the plan, whatever earlier it is shown. Please apply. Please apply means it really connects again and then going to create, and then it will ask you, should I create or not? Or if you want, please approve. This is what it is going to ask you. Once it is asking an approve, what does it do is you will give her something called approve. If not, you won't give an approve, you will give something else. So the process will be stopped here. Then what does it do is once you have given an approve means it's not like there is no buttons. You would provide a command called terraform apply. That's it. And in the coming braces like this, it will ask you whether approve or not approve. Okay, like apt get install, right? It will ask you, do you want me download, yes or no, right? Similarly, it will ask you if you want to provide along with the command, right? apt get upload auto approve. You can provide this argument, the apply command itself. Okay, this is how it will work in the apply phase. And the next one is with the apply phase, you are almost been completed here. Okay, after completion of this, another file will be get created called .tf state file. Basically .tf. Okay, one file will get created. This file is nothing but the original status of it. Meaning, okay, I have created this resources of EC2. EC2 name is my EC2. I'm holding all this information. Okay. Why this required a TF state file means to know the current status. Whenever you re-execute it, right? I told you when do you initialize it, it won't go and really compare and then really connect to the AWS and check whether this resource is already exists or not. Simply, it will read this TF state file and then come back. Okay, there is a resource already, so I can't able to create a same resource with the same name. That is what it will tell you. That is the one of the main reason also to hold the current information. Next one is TF destroy. This is another phase. You simply terraform, destroy, it will do. So what does it do is, first it will read the TF state file, okay, and then understand, okay, this is a current state, this is what I'm gonna destroy. If you, it will read the entire information from this state file. State means it knows what is the current state. Current state means the present information, right? So by reading this TF state file, it will just, what does it do is it will understand, okay, there is an EC2 instance called my EC2. I'm going to delete this. So that's how it will act on it. So if you ask me, there are totally 4 phases in the Terraform lifecycle. These are also called the life cycle. Or in interview also, some people will ask, what is the life cycle of a Terraform? Terraform will contain the 4 stages: Terraform init, Terraform plan, Terraform apply, Terraform destroy. Destroy is an optional, but you have to go with these first 3 phases. Okay. I'm saying. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Okay. Please let me know if you have any questions. Okay. Now let's talk about some of the terminologies. These also will come as a terminologies of it. Okay. Now there are some terminologies. Okay. First one is resources, providers. We already know about it. Next one is the variables. Another one is a module. Another one is a state. Yeah, obviously we have used the resources. Another one is a data source, plan, apply, destroy, approve, or auto approve. These are the some of the terminologies that we have to remember. I just walk you through all this now. I mean, walk through in the sense we just now discuss. What is the resources? What is the providers? Let me show you. Let's talk one more time again. Okay. In your entire Terraform course, or if you know, right? If you know what are these terminologies and where to use, when to use, if you know the answers for all these questions, you are done with the Terraform itself. Meaning your entire, even if you work in a bigger project based on a Terraform, if you know the definition and when to use and where to use, you are done. I mean, your entire project will be completed, meaning you will be easily understand what is happening and everything. Okay. Now let's try to understand of it. Terraform resource. Before telling you the resource, first of all, I have to talk about the providers. Okay. If you see here, this is a Terraform registry.terraform, where it will provide all kind of different things. See, these are all providers. The providers related to the AWS, Azure, GCP, OCI, Alibaba Cloud, Kubernetes, AWS Cloud Control, Boundary, DNS, Console, Google Beta, HTTP, null, random, Terraform itself will have it, Vault. These are all a popular providers, meaning what these guys have done is the HashiCorp company or corporation has done, created a Terraform scripts, and they provided as a modules. Okay, any questions, guys? Okay, okay, nice. So if you want to work with Vault is another secret manager. For example, as I mentioned here, right, in a notepad, I mean, in your Terraform script, where you have mentioned your AWS secret key and access key, right? In a real project, we won't mention anywhere in a plain text format. Yeah, and one more thing is we won't mention or we won't declare those in a Terraform files. What we do is either we will be created a dot hidden file as an environment file and then pass it to this file main.tf. This is one way. Even though if we created the environment file with the hidden mode, you won't mention anywhere, we won't mention the plain text secret key or password or any of the details. We will encrypt it and then use it. So even if the someone has opened this content, they can't able to understand it. Okay, for that they would use something called Vault is nothing but a secret wallet. Okay, AWS is providing some kind of a secret wallet in the form of AWS KMS. um, Vault is also a similar kind of a wallet where you can store your username and password. It will encrypt and give you that string, and once you have given a string, it will be in the encrypted format, so it will use that. So this is another provider like that. Okay, for example, if you want to work with the VMware to spin up permissions, you can use this provider. If you want to use this provider, they would have given a uh, they would have given a documentation how to use this. See, okay, simply you have to define your provider. Where is this provider? What they have mentioned is vMsphere. Okay, now you define about your provider, like what are all is required. Okay, it required username and password and the server they have to define and all the stuff. Okay, they have to give all the information. Okay, this is what they have given. For example, in the same provider, if we want to, I mean, these are all internals to the VS sphere related. Now let's check Kubernetes provider. If we want to know how to use the Kubernetes provider in the Terraform, first you have to define your provider as a Kubernetes and you have to give your configuration details. Then you can use the resource called namespace like this. You can start working on it. Or if you want to use any of the manifest related under the Kubernetes, which is nothing but the labels, manifest files, annotations, you just use a provider called Kubernetes. Then in the resource, you would mention Kubernetes annotations. If you want to work with the certificates in the Kubernetes, you would be directly mentioning resource. A type is Kubernetes certificate one. And then it's respective information you have to give. Kubernetes secret. Okay. Now let me show you AWS part now. Now click on AWS, go to the documentation. For example, in AWS, if you want to provision S3 or API gateway or VPC, right? What you can do is, okay, directly go to the VPC here, and then you just mention resource AWS VPC. Where is this? And in your main.tf, you just mention, like you mentioned the AWS EC2, right? Resource VPC, and VPC name is, I think, AWS, whatever it may be. VPC, your VPC name is my VPC, and describe about your VPC, like a name of the VPC, my VPC, CIDR block, you would be giving it. Of course, just forget about the syntax. Okay, you have to give your subnet IPs also, something like that. So even if, so simple thing, if you want to know, if you want to work with any of the providers, go to the documentation and see. Simple, the basic principle is first you define your provider and then know how to use resource in that. You just come here and then tell you the documentation how they would use it. That's it. Okay. Now we have learned two things here again. The first one is provider. We have already talked about it. And once you have chosen a provider, we have talked about the resource also. Thing is, you have to know how do you use a particular resource. This resource is nothing but a particular component or particular service in that particular provider. In this AWS provider, these many, what is this man? Okay. In the AWS provider, these many resources are being presented. If you want to work with S3, for example, here it is EC2. EC2 elastic, block volume. You just want to compute resources, right? So you just need to use, and if you know how to AMI and then define all the stuff along with the EBS volume, you have to provide all this. So no one will remember all these kinds of keywords and passwords. Someone have to refer the documentation. Only you have to know about is the process. For example, if someone asks you to write a code for that, first you create a main.tf file. In the main.tf file, you would be creating a resource and providers, and then later on you would be improving. This is what you have to know. Okay, no one required to remember any of the syntax. The concept. You have to remember only the concept. Syntax, you can come and use it always, but you have to just define, you have to understand, nothing else on that. Okay, now the next one is, we have already talked about the plan phase, apply phase, destroy phase. This one, auto approve. We have talked about the state files. Now the thing is variables here. Okay, variable is nothing but, I'll give you the sample example, then we will start writing the code also, because that's how it will be. You define the things here. Okay. These are basically, right? A variables means, the inner concept of a variable is the same for every language. Variables means it will vary for any moment. Vary, it means changes. You just define some variable and then feed some data in it, and then you will give the same variable name wherever you want. You will just refer it. Meaning, let me take this example here. What you have just done here, you have defined AMI here, right? What you do is, you would be defining something called a variable in another file. Okay, I'll talk about that also here. One minute, guys. Like you have defined your provider and resources, right? Similarly, you would be define your name. For example, my EC2 name. And then here, it would be simply name equal to my EC2. Okay. Now you have defined a variable. Now, how do you use this variable? Come here, and then instead of declaring the direct value, what you do is var dot my EC2 underscore name dot name. That's it. This is how you do define a variable and how do you use it in your variable. Okay. This is what you have to know. Another one is modules. Modules we'll get to know when we were been working on. Okay. So that modules is nothing but a kind of a plugin, meaning Any set of Terraform configuration files in a folder is called a modules. If you want me, ask me. Meaning, if you remember, in MVN project, we do have a SRC folder, test folder. Under SRC, we do have a main. Okay, main. Under the main, we do have a sources, lot of things, right? So this is a structure of a Maven project folder. Similarly, if you write, for example, how can I say is, okay, I'll show you here is Terraform. Okay, see here, there is a stage. This is a module. Okay, meaning module services and your main.tf file. Stage module. Okay, data source module. Everything is something like this. Meaning whatever the list of files which are under one folder is called a module. Here, if you see here, this is a folder structure for the staging environment, prod environment, and management environment, which is nothing but that's how their environment looks like here. Okay, yeah, simple. See this, there is a folder called module1. In the module1, there is a file called main.tf, out.tf, and variables.tf. It can be many files also here. So what does it mean is, a folder which contains a tf files is called a module. Each module will have its own individual responsibility, meaning you have created a one module. What that module is nothing but that module will create a web server and then start web server. That's it. That is the functionality of it. And if I ask you to write another module for related to the database, what I'll do is I'll create a database folder. Under the database folder, I'll create a main.tf. In the main.tf, I'll use a provider related to the Postgres provider. Postgres is a database I'm using. So I need to, if I want to work with the Postgres database using a Terraform, I have to import the provider of the Postgres. Then I'll use the resources of the Postgres provider, like for example, database name and then table name. So if I write all the such kind of a functionality inside a folder, that is nothing but a module. Okay, and each module contains a minimum of main.tf. It required a main.tf as the main thing here. And when, if you want to use it, see this. Okay, in AWS provider, along with the AWS provider, I'm going to use my custom modules. My module name is a Juke Web Server 1 here, and the source of that is, this is the destination of it. So this is how I'll use a module. We will see each and everything. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, next one is data resources. Data resources is also one of the terminology in the Terraform, where you would be, I mean, you may confuse between the variable and data resources. Okay, what has happened? Guys, are you there? Or my internet is got disconnected? Okay, it is there. Data resource. I mean, not the resource, which is nothing but a data resource. See here, I'll give you the simple one. Okay. Yeah, see here, he has defined one thing called a data and AWS AMI. My data name is AWS AMI type, and the name of my AWS AMI type is example, and it contains a properties called most recent bonus tags, right? So what does it mean is, in a simple terms, like how you define a provider resource in your TF file, you would also define something called data, and the data type, for example, I'm going to define a data related to AWS VPC, or I'm going to create a data name, which is a type of AWS EC2. And that way, the data type name, I mean, it's not a data, this is a data type, and this is a data name. For example, AWS EC2 details. And this contains some of the properties. This property is nothing but, first thing is name, hello EC or web server 1, and which is a type of T2 micro, and all the stuff here. Okay, so like this, you can define your own data structure of any type and provide that name of it, and then it has a property set. Okay, maybe if you know, if you learn any C or C++ or Java, right, there is something concepts called data types. Okay, that is off the record I'm talking about now. I mean, I'm just where is this? Yeah, there is something called data types here, which is nothing but int, string, char, number, right? Meaning these are some of the data types. Here also in data, I mean, these are the predefined data types in your the Java or C++ or any language. But in case of a Terraform, hey, I'm going to create a data which is a type of AWS EC2. AWS EC2 is the data type, and that name is AWS EC2 details, which contains the properties name and type. How I'm going to refer is, similarly here you are going to refer as a var, right? Simply here you would be referring as a data dot AWS underscore EC2 underscore details dot name. That's it. This is how you would be defining your data variable. Okay, this is the data type now. Okay, what else that we need to talk about? This is called data source. Okay, and basically it will be read only purpose we would be using, and nothing as of much importance of it. You are just defining this, and then we will see. Now let's open some open source project and then see, are there any known terminologies? Till now we have learned about these terminologies, right? Let's go and find some open source related Terraform project and then see whether are we able to understand or are we able to correlate with whatever we have discussed till now. Okay, now this is one of the a course which is designed by the HashiCorp, who is the author of the Terraform. They have just defined Terraform related. See, in their project, they have a main.tf. Okay, in the main.tf, they have something called, let's understand it. First, they have defined a AWS provider, and they have also defined custom providers. There is nothing provider called random, but they just defined it. Of course, you can create it. In the AWS provider, they are using AWS instance type of resources, and that instance name is a web, and that has some properties like this. AMI type, instance type is a T2 micro, user data is this one. User data is nothing but a, if you remember, while we are creating an EC2 instance, we have provided something called user data. For example, on the boot level itself, I want to install a MySQL database. I want to install a Postgres database while creating a OS itself, or I want to create a 10 users out of it while creating a OS itself. That is called user data. You would give us something else also. In this example, what this guy is giving is, similarly, he is providing a user data. The data, what he has done is, he has provided a shell script. Let's see what this shell script is doing it. See, in the shell script, they are using a yum related, like they are installing a HTTPD service, which is nothing but one of the lightweight web server, and he's starting it, and then he's checking on it. After that, he is creating a user, and then he is changing some permissions of the folder to that user, and then finally he is checking whether he is able to access that particular in index.html or not on the fly itself. Meaning he has written a some shell script. That shell script will do installation of a lightweight web server, which is nothing but HTTPD. And once he has done it, he has created a respective users and then index.html, and then he is checking whether it is properly able to bring it up or not. This is what is doing in a shell script. And the point is, he is just using that as a user data, meaning while creating EC2 instance itself, this file will be get executed, meaning he doesn't require to log in inside and then install all this after creation of EC2. He just provide in a shell, and then it will install on the OS creation itself. That is the main part of the user data. Okay, now we understand. Now let's see output. By the way, we have missed one more thing called output here in our terminology. Yeah, we'll learn one by one here. Variable, right? Output, meaning in the plan stage or in the apply stage, what we do is we'll get a result, right? After applying it, you will get to know whether this has been successfully completed or whether successfully provisioned or failed or something happened. You will get to know, right? Similarly, if you want to display any of such kind of a dynamic data, you would use one of the thing called output. Output variable. Like we have created a variable data type, right? Variable, right? Similarly, we will also create a output. How do we create? This is how we do create it. In the output.tf, we'll just create a domain name. The value of is this one. Meaning, after execution of terraform apply, you will get a output as the value name, public DNS. In this scenario, what he's doing is, after completion of apply, he is just displaying the what is the public IP address of that EC2 instance, and along with the URL, URL colon index.php. This is what he is going to get it. Okay, simply, and after that he is defining a terraform.tf. See here, as I mentioned you, right? Terraform.tf. This contains a list of providers. Okay, when you mention required provider, it is going to download AWS provider and some random providers. The random provider is from the HashiCorp. AWS provider is also from HashiCorp. Everything is from a HashiCorp. While downloading this provider, it will make sure it will download the 14 it will download the greater than of this version only. Okay, this is how it will. This is how, I hope this is a very simple basic a project of a terraform which will just create or spin up an EC2 instance in AWS. Okay, now any questions, guys? Any questions? Let me know if you have any questions. Is it clear or any doubt here? Okay, fine. Thank you. Right. Thanks for confirmation. Now let's go ahead and then talk about something else. Not something else related to the Terraform only. For example, now you want to create now you are working in a project or you want to learn it. What you do is first create some folder called EC2 provision. In this provision, in this folder, first what you do is you will create a couple of files as with main.tf, variables.tf. Okay, not like variables.tf. There is something called, you can use it variables.tf, or you can define variables.tf.json, or you would be using, of course, you won't create this file, terraform.tf state. I mentioned, right? This is how the state file. I mean, create on will find after apply. That's what it is happening. Okay. Next one is output.tf, where we can display all our variables and some extra files. This is how your file structure looks like. And if you put some name for that entire folder, it will called as a module. That's it. Nothing else you would be. We'll see that. We'll see that also here. Okay. Now, once you have done it, what you do is, once you have done with your main.tf, variables.tf, terraform.tf, what you do is simply you will go inside EC2 provision folder and then do terraform. You remember, right? Terraform init. Once you have done with initialization, what does it do is it will download all the files or all the provider related documents. After that, what you do is you will apply Terraform plan. It will make sure this is how I'm going to give you or how I'm going to execute you. This is like a blueprint it will give you. Once you are okay with that, you will start telling, okay, please apply. Then it will ask you approve or not approve. It will ask you, you will give an answer and you are done. By this time, after completion of all this, your infrastructure is ready. Now, if you want to destroy, what you do is terraform destroy. This is how your execution or flow will be looks like. Okay. Any questions on this, guys? Okay. Please let me know if you have any questions. But this is a basic thing everyone required. Don't forget, I mean, don't forget everything. You just need to define, okay, you need to create a folder. Inside a folder, make sure you have a one file called main.tf, which is a manifest file. Manifest file means you would define what you are going to define, what you are going to do in the form of a declarative model. Declarative model means, okay, you just remembered, there is a process to compile a Java project. There is a process to compile and then execute a Python project. So similarly, in the Terraform also, there are 4 phases. In the 4 phases, you would be getting a different output. I mean, different, not like different output. I mean, you have to deal with the different stages. Everything will be based on the main.tf only. In the main.tf, you would define mainly 2 things here. You will tell the provider that you are going to use it, the resource that you are going to use it. After that, you would also use variable data or output, everything, anything you can work on it. So these are only few data types or few keywords or terminologies you would use entire Terraform. If you understand, or if you are master in this understanding of these keywords, you can easily understand any project written by the Terraform. This is what I can say. Another next phase is modules. Why I have not executed and told you is, first, if you understand, if you got a confidence of all these phases, how it will work, right? You will easily write a code. That is what my main aim is. See, we can directly start open a code editor and then start writing. It will be easy, but easy for me. But the thing is, the guys who are learning, right, they should not fear about writing a code. Even I feared myself. If I open a notepad and then how do I start, I don't know, I forget, and I'm fear if any of the language such that like that it will, if anything is new to me. So first what I'll do is, first I'll make sure I understand those keywords and the high level working functionality or life cycle. Then I'll start writing and everything. Simple. You just create a main.tf. In a main.tf, you have to define 2 things, resource and provider. First, you define a provider, which is nothing but the AWS. And then you need to mention resource. Now you are clear, you are started. Now, next thing is, how should I use a provider? You go and find a syntax, and then if you know, use it. Okay, next thing is, how do you define a resource? You come on documentation and see, find a respective documentation, use that resource name, and then use the properties. That's it. No one will remember anything. You just need to go to the documentation, understand the concept, and then you find it, make it work. That's it. You don't need to struggle. Any questions, guys? I think this is it for me today. Let's meet tomorrow. And then if you have any questions, please talk me now. And then we'll talk if you have anything. Okay, hopes no questions. If you have any questions, please let me know. Tomorrow also is a fine. Okay, that's it, guys. Thank you.